Hello and a warm welcome to all attendees joining today's webinar, which is titled Live Reports Migration, 60 Minutes to BI Publisher or Jasper Reports. Well, I can tell you this will be a great webinar filled with great content, and we do have some excellent speakers lined up, and I'm very happy that all of you can join this session. Interesting that this is a topic that has gained quite a bit of attention over the past month, especially since Oracle has announced that Reports is end of life, and the latest release is the last release and final for Reports that it's supporting. There's a topic on many people's mind, what to do with my Oracle Reports that my organization relies heavily on. So we are talking about that today, and we will demonstrate options possible like migration to BI Publisher or Jasper Reports that are an excellent target state option in terms of replacing your Oracle reports. So that said, today's target will be demonstrating to you these migrations paths possible in a live demo for both target technologies. So, presenters for today we have lined up. First top is Madi Sherban. She's head of R&D at PITS, so I'm very excited to hear her speak today. We also have Stefan LaRocca, my colleague who heads up business development, and both are based in Germany. And myself, Sasha Sander, and it's a very pleasure to moderate and take you through a quick tour through today's session. So I hope my co-presenters can hear me well, and the line is open. Very good. That's great that you're with us, Mari and Stefan.
I'm here. Hi, everybody.
Yeah, good to hear you. So what are we talking about the next hour? What are we discussing today? First of all, we will provide a quick introduction with a first session from Stefan about a general technology choice. This is a very important basis for any next step in planning. After that, we head forward with Madi introducing reports to Jasper, including our migration methodology, and then followed again by Stefan introducing reports to BI Publisher migration. Just to let you know, the demonstration will be performed based on our latest migration tool Reports Replacer Kit. So it's a fantastic solution, making Oracle Reports migrations easy and highly efficient, reducing project effort, time, cost, even with complex reports environments. So you will see excellent functionality that our team has included in the tool, and I'm pretty sure you will enjoy and see the value that it could provide here. Finally, I will close with a quick introduction and overview of some services and solutions that we offer for organizations looking for migration of their reports or looking even for a strategy for developing a roadmap for replacing their reports on a future state technology. On the other hand, we already had a number of questions that a lot of you have asked during the registration process. And we're going to address these at the end. Anyway, if you have any questions during the session that might come up, we will have the possibility that you can use a Q&A button at the top of the screen. So please feel free to place your questions here to be discussed and answered in the separate Q&A session at the end. Well, why is this webinar important? Well, Oracle Reports migration, why is this important? I think, or I already mentioned at the beginning, that Oracle is quite clear with its statement of direction for reports that is end of life and that version 12 is the final version for reports. Probably you consider that there are a few years left, but I'm pretty sure and we are convinced that now is a time to forming a strategy, to forming your strategy. It does not make sense until you are forced to do something to move forward. In general, you should always have a strategy in place, especially for your mission-critical legacy applications, and that is what we will discuss with our customers day in and day out. So I think it's the right time to form a strategy. And before I hand over now to Stefan, I would like to set up a quick poll that we have prepared. It's always important to see what our customers, what companies, what organizations think about and what they plan. And the benefit for you is that we present the result of the poll directly after. So the first poll, and I appreciate if you can click the button, is talking about what is important to you in your reports. You can have a multiple choice, of course. Is it pixel perfect? Is it the BI functionalities that you're focused on? Is it visually appealing, modern look and feel, the maintenance or report friendly? Okay, appreciate if you can have a quick tick on the box. Let's wait a few seconds and then we should see the result. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, that's interesting. So yeah, highest topic for most of you are really the maintenance and development, friendly handling. Second one is the visually appealing and modern look and feel. Yes, definitely. Okay, thank you very much. So let's have a quick look at the next poll, very quick before we move forward here. So we are talking about the criteria. So the most important criteria for your technology decision, maybe cost, maybe know-how. Community might be very interesting, of course, or important for the one or the other organization. BI functionality is so much more than reporting only. New technologies like cloud availability. Okay, please tick the box. Appreciate again. Wait a few seconds, then we generate the result. 1, 2, 3. Hopefully you'll see. Tick the box. And we get the result in a few seconds. Here we go. Okay, again, very interesting to see the result. Of course, cost and budget is always a topic that everybody has to take in consideration. Very important for most of you here, for attendees, that it is easy to handle, it's easy to develop, and it's a supported technology, of course. That is what we see in the market as well. I think it's quite representative. So thank you very much, all of you, for participation. It's an interesting result. So we are very excited because we have a quite huge number of registrations here for this web session again. And yeah, we think it's a quite representative result. So that said, I will go ahead and turn over to Stefan to present his part of the first presentation. So Stefan, go ahead, please. I will stop my screen sharing.
Okay.
To all of you, speak later and enjoy Stefan's presentation.
I will do. Thank you very much. So please, first of all, let me share my screen and start the presentation. You should see my slides, Sasha. Is
perfect.
That wonderful.
Yeah,
thank you very much. Thanks once more for joining the session. Yes, and I'm happy to share some of my points and decisions. How could I decide which is the correct successor for Oracle reports, and how are you are enabled to decide which tool is the best for you. If we take a look at Oracle reports, we will see in the history of different versions that since version number 10, I believe, there is no significant new features coming up into the product. And that caused that most of the reports we faced during our huge amount of analysis we did in the past are written 10, 15, 20 years ago, and everything was coming up as new possibilities and new requirements in the business process for the reporting is not yet available in the Oracle reports. So it's a very good situation for you while thinking about a migration after or from Oracle reports to any other technology to see what is the actual requirements for your reporting. I saw a couple of reports still printing paper and paper and paper, and somebody is running over the floor and distributing the paper in different offices. And that is no longer the case. That is not helpful for you and your customer and your user to consume data out of your existing application. There are so much better front ends and process support and tools available, so you can rethink about all the requirements belonging to your reporting process. If we take a look on reporting itself, I like to distribute or to split them down in different use cases. Hand of my heart, sure, there will be parts where it's necessary to print directly on labels to take care about the tray from the printer. So there should be paper for tickets, for bills, whatever, that is still necessary. Even barcode is a requirement which should be suitable for every new tool on the market. But on the other hand, you have perhaps the requirement that you have to be multi-language able to support different kind of layouts, different kind of customer layouts. That is handled in reports in, I would like to say, an awful way. So every new tool brings new possibilities to support you in getting a multi-language enabled report. On the other hand, you will see customers like to get more support on new devices like smartphones, like tablets. So your reports should be able and visible and consumable on that kind of device as well. Perhaps you might like to start into more self-service able infrastructure so that you do not need a report developer changing the search criteria, changing the order of columns, changing the arrangement on the layout. Perhaps it makes sense to hand over that to a key user in your business so they have more responsibility for consuming the reports. Last but not least, the new kind of architecture, thinking about microservices, will influence the reports as well. So you split down the reports being a part of a microservice, tightly coupled to a specific use case, to a specific business process. So you have to think about how could I group, how could I change, how could I interact inside a specific business process to my reporting engine. So what we do starting for a migration is we generate together with our customers the so-called reporting landscape. And that open up your mind for new requirements, for change requirements. So you could ask about what is initially printing, what is the result, and that is in the middle of the paper, and that is of most of interest. But if you go to the right side, you will see directly the customer will get a very big rectangle as well, because we would like to create a benefit for your customer with these reporting tasks. And the customer could be an in-house consumer, an in-house user from your own company, but it could also be your customer if you're an ISV and try to sell your product to any customer outside. Roundabout, there are a couple of questions we ask, and so we could generate a reporting landscape which gain a benefit from a migration process from reports to any other solution. For today, we try to present Jasper Reports and BI Publisher as one of the most, or two of the most popular successors for Oracle reports. How could we distinguish between both, and what is the components you could put into to compare those two reports tools. And I'd like to talk about four or five key points to look at and try to give a distinction between those two tools. On one hand, take care about the infrastructure. BI Publisher is bound to the WebLogic server or even available as a cloud service. So if you rely with your complete application in the WebLogic server, it could be a good choice to use BI Publisher. Jasper Reports, on the other side, has an open Java server infrastructure, so you can deploy that on any application server available. So that is the distinguish in between the infrastructure. If you take care about the skills, you will see later on, if you work with BI Publisher, you have to be familiar with XML, XSLFO, or XLIF technology. So you have to be taking care about these kinds. On the other hand, the skill which is necessary for Jasper Reports is definitely Java. So if you don't have a Java know-how, it's hard to start with Jasper development. If you take care about the process and additional functionality, I pick only two representative out of the existing tool set. So one of those things I like on BI Publisher is the bursting capabilities. So you can distributing reports or files to any consumer, like spreading an email with an attachment and putting them out into the world with a click and with one report design. So I like that feature very much. It's very performant and very cool in BI Publisher. On the other hand, Jasper Reports, what I like in the Jasper Reports engine, that it's not complicated to re-query the data source while during your layout issues. So if you have database intensive reports with questions to the layout, it's very handy and very comfortable in Jasper Reports to do that as well. Then we could take care about the license. So BI Publisher is bound under the Oracle support license fee. So whenever you have a BI Publisher with a running support contract or reports beforehand in a running support contract, you are able to use BI Publisher. Jasper Reports could start from open source to any commercial version on top. So they are bundled in different versions from open source to any commercial with support. And to compare the effort in the migration, I like to point out only two things. BI Publisher is very easy for the data model and the PL SQL inside your reports. That is very easy to migrate and could be covered very well. But you will see later on, it's very intensive in layouting. Jasper Reports is the other way around. If your data getting very complex with supporting subqueries after subqueries after subqueries, that could be a huge effort in Jasper, but it's very easy to handle the layout in Jasper Reports. That is our only two representative of over 65 keys we measure inside every report to give a clue what could be the target architecture. And to be fair, at the end, before I end my comparison between BI Publisher and reports, to be fair, there are so many other tools on the market, and we heard about that, like Eclipse, PLPDF. We see a lot of usage of Pentaho, but what we see in the last half a year or year, Jasper Reports and BI Publisher are the most requested one. So in the next live demos and slides, we focus on that. And that is a very good point to hand over to Madi to start with her presentation for the way we do the migration and the first live demo on Jasper Reports. So I stopped my presentation. Madi, if you're ready to start, please hand over or take over.
Thanks, Stefan. Hello, everyone, again. Thanks, Stefan, for the insight into the technology choice. It's very important. It's a challenging and important aspect. I need to take my presentation right. Okay, you should see my slides, I guess.
Yes, it works.
Thanks, Sasha. Okay, let's start. So this topic about the technology choice is important because we want to make sure that we will be happy with the target technology for the next 10 years or longer. When we think that we've had Oracle reports, we were happy or not about that, but for the last 3 decades, it worked, and we hope to be able to say the same thing about the new technologies. For the moment, the high concerns I saw in the polls are about the way to develop the, reports in the new technology, and we have prepared a demo about that. We will not just migrate with the tool, but we will also open the reports in Jasper, and Stefan will do that with their publisher, and we'll try to work with the tool and see how it looks like. My part in this webinar will be about 2 topics. The first one will be, Sasha said, about preparation. Actually, it's about how to reduce the risk of migration through preparation. I'll explain what that means. And the second one will be the hands-on demo. So we'll migrate together a couple of reports to Jasper, and we'll think how it looks like. We start with discussing about minimizing risks, and I can tell from my experience after managing migration reports for a lot of years, migration projects usually involve way more stress than normal development projects. So it's a good idea to know from the very beginning which are the typical issues and try to either reduce, avoid them, or deal with them. So depending on the role we have in the organization, we are end user, we are IT, developer, department, or we are a management, have a management position, we can expect different type of issues, and also we have different expectations. We would like additional benefits, such as interactivity. We would like more output formats, like exporting the data to Excel. This is something most users want. We, as a developer, we would like easy transition to Jasper, to BI Publisher, would like to understand, to easily develop, easily migrate, and to easily understand what we had before. So I will focus on that. All these goals and challenges can be managed. A proof of this are the projects, the migration projects at PITS. You would see references on our page. For example, Volkswagen, we worked together with Volkswagen for a mobile migration to .NET, where we have implemented an innovative architecture, .NET and ADF, and we managed to keep all project deadlines. And not only the project managers were happy of reaching their goals, the end users were really happy about the new application. It looks really cool. On the old handheld device, the application looked like a smartphone. Another reference we're proud about is Merck. We are working with Merck since a lot of years, a lot of projects, one of them migration to Java. And again, a reference like all milestones were kept, all delivered solution, excellent quality, and so on. So it's possible, successful projects are possible, but we learn most from failed projects. And happy to say, I don't have failed projects. We need to look around and identify. There are plenty of failed projects, and we need to see why do they fail and make sure that thing never happens to us. So let's look at the German Federal Employment Agency stopping last year a migration project after spending 60 million euro, nice amount of money. And they are not alone. A lot of our customers stopped migration projects with catastrophic results, because it's not only money lost in such a situation, but also whole departments canceled, moved to another country. We want to avoid that. And interestingly, all of them manual migration. So what happens in these situations? If we understand the typical issues, then we can avoid them in our case. If we summarize on the right side of the screen, it's the summary. Top, the analysis effort of an old complex systems. I assume that you have an old complex system, yes? The analysis effort is huge. And in most cases, pressed by time, people may decide to get things started. without a proper analysis, go on and we'll figure out the details later. Another issue, we got things started. It's difficult to estimate how long will this take. So just by looking at the system, just by thinking, oh, it's complex or it's not. So as a consequence, these type of projects are out of budget, not slightly, but by 2-3 times. Consequence of the consequence is that additional developers and teams get hired to do the job quicker and in the time limit, which leads to catastrophic practices, development, an architecture that cannot be understood, different type of issues from this. So we want to avoid that. How to do that? On the next slide, the plan. We need accurate estimation. We don't need to guess. We need numbers for each and every report. We need to know it will take this amount of hours and so on. We need to be able to quickly analyze. Ideally, visual analysis are best because we see at a glance everything that happens inside. We think visually a lot. We need a mix of tool-supported migration and manual fine-tuning. So, because migrating everything manually is not feasible. We saw projects are in high risk of doing, if they do that, has huge costs and risk. On the other side, doing everything automatically is utopic. So the secret sauce is in the mix. So the mix between tool-supported and manual. We need an identical architectural basis for all developers in the project, no matter if you have your own developers in your company or contractors outside or whichever constellation you choose for the project. Everybody needs to have the same architectural patterns, best practices, and so on, and that would lead to a quality output. And we need a step-by-step process so that everybody in the project knows at every single moment where we are, what's next. So to implement all these, we have a set of tools, repository-based engines, able to analyze an Oracle software system and regenerate it in various technologies. And we included there during the years generation engines to help these type of projects and our customers avoid this type of migration issues. We applied these tools on and fine-tuned them and eliminated any kind of issues that may, childhood issues that may appear in software routines. And we can guarantee now that applying this set of tools is assuring a successful project. We can give this guarantee when we start a migration project. So I would focus now on the migration plan in a step-by-step format. It's a mix of tool support and manual fine-tuning involving a first analysis phase. This time in this phase, we define targets, we clean application of deprecated components, move logic to database, clean reports of unused objects. And at the end of this phase, we are able to very accurately estimate. So this brings me to the second phase. We are able now to estimate and to create the architecture, the target architecture. We know what's inside, the meaningful elements inside my application. We can plan the migration. By migration here, we mean the tool migration. We apply the routines, trying to do as much of as possible of the routine work with the computer. And then we remain with the phase 3, which is the longest phase because the first ones are automatic. We open the reports, test, fine-tune them. So some reports will migrate almost completely, others will need more manual work. And in doing that, we'll fine-tune one after another, the data management, the user interface, the business logic, then we'll test, and then we are done. For the first part, the analysis, I have prepared a couple of visual analysis results just to give a demo, what we use in migration projects. So I have prepared here, generating a first diagram, tables views usage. I have here a report I'm focusing today on rep $003. I'd like to see which table is using, accessing through select, insert, update, delete, and pressing this button, I can see a representation of this report. I can see it has two queries, Q1, Q2. Accesses three tables, this one is displayed with orange. And I can print some additional reports, a program unit flow, showing me all the components, not only the ones going down to tables. The way components are related, the call flow with format triggers, formulas, and this report is particularly important in migrations because we save a huge amount of time alone by being able to understand at a glance what happens in a particular report. And additionally, we make sure to consider all issues and not forget crucial things. So we get here to decide what to do with the logic. If there is a lot of code in the report, we also have routines to migrate that to database packages. And another type of report we use is the navigation diagram. It basically searches for all forms calls, call form, open form, web show document, run product. Here in my demo diagram, you see 5 forms modules and the way the user navigates from one to another. We use this diagram in the initial phases of each migration project to identify areas to deprecate and to define the future architecture. Other important analysis results, I'll jump to the reports replacer kit. I will look to the tool that actually migrates. So it's called Reports Replacer Kit, and specifically to the dashboard, reporting dashboard page. Here we have lots of metrics necessary for a migration project. And on this machine, I loaded 35 of our own reports where we can take a look inside. They are not confidential. And if I select this particular report I was talking to you about, RepD $, which we will take today as one of the 2 demos, I can see the statistic related to this report. I can see in this pie chart here above that it is pretty balanced with a little bit more user interface than business logic. Below in the bottom area, I can see the particular challenges here, like a formula column, or I can see the amount of lines of code and triggers and usage of SRV built-ins and so on. Now let's migrate this report to Jasper, and I would open the Jasper reports migration page. I have selected this report, RepD, and I will migrate it. And applying the default migration settings for now, the migration engine has finished creating source file necessary for the new Jasper report. And we'll be able to download these files, open them in Jasper Studio, and work with them. I did the same for another report we'll use today, file branch history. Before starting to work with these reports in Jasper Studio, I'd like to take a look at how they look like in Oracle Builder. So I'm jumping to a virtual machine where I have opened Oracle Builder. You see here on the right, in Oracle Builder, you see the RepD $003. Let's run this report. You can see it has 4 parameters. 3 are predefined. The third one needs to be defined in order to run. And we can see how the report looks like. It has an image above. It had some formatting and a table. Let's see the second report. File branch history I told you about. Let's run it. This one has 6 parameters. Let's give some default values to all of them and run this report too. So you can see how this one looks like. No image, but pretty complex formatting with indenting, with grouping, and so on. There is a grouping here, and in some cases, the data is structured. Interesting. Let's download these reports and look how they look like in Jasper Studio. start with file branch history. I press this download Jasper report source file. And I open this file, and we can see Jasper Studio just opened. To run this report, I will try to have in parallel the reports builder and Jasper Studio so that we can see how they look. This is in design mode. To see how this report looks like in runtime, I need to press preview. I need to enter you see the same 6 parameters that this report has. I'll give some default data, and we need one thing more to define the database connection. SC is the one where this report runs. And I can see the output, the resulted report. And for this report, I can see it's fast 100% copy of the initial report. Everything is in place as it was before. And looks pretty, it went pretty well so far. Now, I really do not want to give the impression that a migration project will be just a pressing of a button and in one day we are done. So I selected one more report where things do not work that good. I'm closing this one. Don't want to save changes. Going back to Jasper Studio, selecting the rep D003, you can see in the bottom area about the statistics. You can see data items, they have been migrated, but there are some things to do. The report is not fully migrated for some various reasons. So we'll download and open the report in Jasper Studio. It opened. And before making changes, we'll take a look a little bit at its objects. We can see, let's try to look in parallel the two reports. We can see the image above, so this component has been migrated. We can see the various formatting. We have the blue text here, we have the gray table header, we have the table. In the data, we can see Q1, Q2, the two data sets migrated from the two queries I had before. And let's run the report and see how it looks like. Preview. I see 4 parameters. One of them does not have default data. I have to select a schema. Admin is the one where this report runs. And this report has an output of hundreds of pages. So I'll just stop its execution. Now we compare. Looks pretty similar. Things are in the same place, but some things are missing. 2 things we noticed. First of all, in object name column, the data is missing. And secondly, the color is missing in the whole table. So here we have color. If we notice in this report, let's jump later to a page, I don't know, later, page 14. The color changes. That's a conditional formatting here. Let's see how we get this. First of all, we look at the reports replacer kit in the not converted component. See here, summary of report, generated objects. We can see list of not converted components, and we see an object, a formula, CF object name display. Let's see what this means. In the report, in the object navigator, program units, I'll select the CF object name display, view code, and I can look what this is doing. It's a function computing the value for this column, and I'll set it aside. Okay. Pretty tricky to make the demo. For this column, object name, it calculates, it concatenates its name in some cases, or it just copies. So if object name sec is null, then it's something else. It's a concatenated of object name dot and object name sec. Let's try to do that. We can implement that in Jasper in no time. So I'd like to minimize this screen. Okay. Managed. Coming back to Jasper Studio, going into the design mode, we try to really develop this. So I'm talking about this column here. So I'm double clicking this list, selecting the element that has to be defined. Double click in again, and I'm in the expression editor. This is the default element, object name, I'm deleting that. And I tried to migrate manually what I see here in PL SQL. So it says if object name sec is null, well, object name sec is here. So I double click it. If object name sec is null, then it should output the object name. Well, it should be object name. Otherwise, it will be object name concatenated plus dot concatenated again with object name sec. So that's it. That's a really fun way to learn something new. I really love it, how we develop. So we finish and we try to see how this looks like. Let's save and preview. Give again another default demo, and it computes, and we stop, and we can see data in this object name column. And that was fun. Now, let's do the second task here, make some color, the conditional formatting. If I search for that code, it's here, object location. If I look at this code, what it is doing is basically, if the object location, which is this first column, is DB, then it sets a color like the orange. Else, it sets the blue color, the bluish color. So let's do this again. So I go back to design mode and implement this again. What we would like to do is not migrate one by one. We migrate one by one fields and things that we would like to be exactly as they were before. But in this case, I would like to do something else. I would define styles. So I will create a new style. And in the properties, give it a name like object styles. Okay. And in this style, I'll create two conditional styles, one for DB and the other one for non-DB. So the first condition style, I go in the style here, will have a conditional expression. Let's minimize this so that I can see the code. So I define again the conditional expression, and in the Q1 I want this conditional if object location is DB. So in Q1 object location is here and its value equals should be DB. Yes, if object location finish. This was the conditional, and in that case I would like to set a specific color, background color. Let's pick it was orange or something like this, okay, and not transparent. That's it. And another style for the not DB. So again, create conditional style, and for this one, again, on the style page, define again object location equals, and this one if it's not, but I will write the same DB. And then I'll negate this. And that's it, finish. So in this case, I would like to have a bluish background. So this one, okay, and not transparent. Now we define this style. All we have to do is apply this style to these fields that you see here. And actually, I would like to apply to all of them, and there are small gaps between them. So what I'd like to do is enclose these fields in frame, enclose into frame, and for this frame, define this style, object styles. So let's hope we did everything. Save, preview, define the missing parameter, and run. Okay, and we have conditional formatting. Okay, let's compare the before after. I will minimize this. So this is page 14. Let's try to select here, I don't know, it calculates the hundreds of pages that we have in this report. Okay. Try to jump to page 14, and we can see the conditional. If it's DB, then it will be yellow. If it's not DB, let's jump also in the reports builder. If it's not DB, it's bluish, which finalizes the fine-tuning for this report as well. So when we compare the two reports, it looks good. Looking back at how much work we had in fine-tuning the report, we can be glad we finalized that in a few minutes. We have now gained an overview of the report structure. If we take a bigger report, complexer, we will just work a bit longer, but the time savings will be equally significant. So regarding also understanding the report, coming back to the reports replacer kit, we can print the migration documentation. If you see here, download text file and take a look. I'd like to open it in Notepad and see a summary of the migration. I can print this migration, this summary, and save it for my software documentation, change it for the future. And it's a valuable document. If I scroll the document, I found a huge amount of items, graphical objects, other element properties. We are glad that all this routine work can be performed by an algorithm. It would be a really, really boring task to do this manually. So our engineers are still researching on ways to perform the rest of the work, to what I demoed today manually. But 100% migration may never be fully reachable. So the two architectures are simply too different. At the end of the day, the most important part is to find a solution that is doable, cost-effective, and allows us to redesign the reports correctly, and so that we have a report well-written, clear, performant. What we also want is to do in migration projects is to enhance this report, but that is a topic for another webinar. This ends my planned demo for today. I look forward to Stefan's part on BI Publisher, and then to Sasha's wrap up to your questions. So back to Stefan.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Welcome.
Well, yep, wonderful. So it's on my side to talk about the difference we see between the migration to Jasper reports and BI Publisher. So I will focus quickly on the way we fine-tune BI Publisher after we do the migration with the replacer kit. One of the architectural distinguisher between Jasper and BI Publisher is, in our project we found the situation that is appropriate to talk about cluster going over to BI Publisher. You will see later on inside the BI server, you will have a folder structure for your reports, and it doesn't make sense to put thousands of reports into one folder, but give the user the opportunity to run through a directory structure. And this directory structure is given by a cluster, and the cluster could be generated or could be created by the reports replacer kit. So I'm in the replacer kit in cluster management, and I can take a look about the reports we loaded into the repository, and I pick those reports of my interest into a specific cluster. That is the starting point for the BI Publisher migration. If we go on to the page for the BI Publisher, it looks much more similar to that what we do on Jasper report side. So we are able to migrate clusters further on into a BI Publisher. We are still working on two very fancy features. We are not yet finished, but it will be part of the next release. Is for a cluster in BI Publisher, it's convenient to put shared data components into a common data model, and that is what we try to allow the customer to put similar queries into one data model and reuse that from different layouts. And the other one is, if you like to reorganize your corporate design, we could integrate header and footer statements directly as templates into the new generated part. So if you decide to go with a cluster, you can migrate. I do that beforehand to not spend too much time over here. We see the both reports coming up the same. But what is more of interest, I like to switch to the server behind. I'm now on the server where the reports replacer kit is running. And what we see is we generate a file structure. And if you see over here in the BI Publisher, BI Server, we prepare a complete folder structure for all the generated artifacts. And the developer could take those reports and copy and paste them to the report server and have a running environment on the report server. So that is the first step to do. And the second step is in the out directory structure underneath, you find the description for the packages for the BI server. That is, we in BI Publisher, if you're familiar with this, every report has a package inside the database assigned, and in these packages you could define global variables, formula columns, the queries, whatever is necessary to make the report runnable. And that is generated. We use in the back end the Oracle BI conversion tool, but we improve that together with Oracle for a better preparation of the reports, and afterwards a better fine-tune. And that is what I like to make you visible in the next second. So what we do is, if you go to the BI server and upload the reports to the BI server, you will see for each report, in our case, the folder structure, and under folder structure you will see the data model. So the data model is generated completely with all formula columns, etc. So we can take a look at this, and you will see if we take care about the data with some filter criteria, you will see the XML structure for the report. And that is a good starting point to download these XML structure to allow a fine-tune later on in Word. So we download the XML structure, and now we are free of choice who wants to develop or fine-tune the report, because now we only need Word for the RTF template and the XML file from the data model, and we can go to any other PC and do the fine-tune over words. How is that working? For the report, we generate the RTF file, so I can download that RTF file. It's saved in my download folder. I open that, and you will see words should come up over here. Okay, that is the wrong, I believe the wrong one. It's number 1. It's over here, and we like to take care about that. And that is the layout generated by the conversion tool in addition with the replacer kit. So what is done over here, we have format trigger behind the header inside the Oracle reports. So what you see is we put the code for the format trigger inside the fields for the BI Publisher template. And with this, we save a lot of time during fine-tuning the layout. But we can do a couple of things over here. You may see the layout is not correct for the usage of formats. That can be done manually, but that is an awful work, and you don't like to do that for every date and every pages, which wrong number. So we decide to generate a plugin for the Word with additional features for the BI Publisher. So you see over here there is a page given with incorrect references. So we have created a couple of scripts which corrects such typical failures like page numbers, default number formats, default currency formats, etc. So that ease up your work inside the development of the Word template. With this, what you have to do is now to fine-tune the layout. You will see, oh, over here the version is not setting correct, perhaps. But we have also hidden sections with the groups depending on a parameter like level. And what we do is even these templates are given through the replacer kit. Okay, so to see which kind of XSL statements are to use inside my reports, we generate some XSL templates as a copy and paste scenario. That is only a short list of the complete available syntax that is given by our tool. So you can easily compare the PL SQL syntax and the XSL syntax as well. And with this, you could have a very good starting point. So let's make them runnable. So we have to use the sample data we generated through the BI server. That is data number 2. I open that. Okay, I take this. And now we can have a quick look on the PDF document, which is generated by this. And this is not looking very good right now, but with the small adjustments, we could get a very good result. So what we do is we mark them and give them a meaningful font size, perhaps. And what you see is the tables could be rearranged. You can use either word functionalities with the mouse to move the table size, but you can also use these functionalities given with the template, with the words over here with fixed size for the columns and for the rows. So that could be done very quickly. And perhaps what we like to achieve is over here some layout adjustment. And that is what I said in the beginning. The most part you have to do over here is adjusting the layout. All the data is given in a complex way, in a very correct way for this report. If you're finished with this, let's have a last view on the PDF document. Okay, I'll give them, okay, wonderful. Let's assume we are ready over here. The next step to do is, we can switch over that. We go back to our BI server over here and try to edit the report. So in the report, I could edit that and take my new layout, the RTF template I generated in my download folder. That is in the download folder, there's that template. I hand over that an RTF template and it's very ugly. Okay, and it's coming up from Germany. Okay. And with these minor adjustments, I can now run the report. You will see over the 6 parts, the 6 parameters you see before. And whenever you change the definition, perhaps we show only 2 detail levels. You will see the changes inside the reports. The conditional field is not yet shown, the groups are not yet shown, and that is done. We see our ugly uploaded part will do as well with the pretty adjustments in the layout. We could create a very good layout for the BI publisher as well. But you have the complete enhancement of the BI publisher available over here. So let's quick step back to our part and see what the replacer kit is done over here as well. We just created a couple of functionalities which are helpful for the developer. One, especially for the migration, is the work list. So we are in our file branch history demo RTF template, and I like to see the work list, and I can click on it, and I will be redirected to the replacer kit and directly to a work list, a task list, what is to do for the developer to adjust the report. And you will see we hand over all trigger information. We have 4 formatting triggers inside the original Oracle reports, and one of them is the header format trigger, and we see the initial PL SQL code is given over here, and the translator of the replacer kit put that into XSL style sheets. And we see the group format trigger is given over here, and with the XSL styles sheet, and I can mark them as done. Yes, I checked it, I've done it, it's working functionally fine, and I can give it a mark so that the project manager is aware of all open issues in my reports. So I can run through these lists and click everything what it's done. And if it's not yet done, I could copy and paste the XLS statement, and I have a rough idea what to do inside my Word template. But as you've seen, in all our groups, that is level 2, we see the syntax, and in the end level 2, we have simply an and if as a statement. So that is done, that is fine, and I don't code any line of code for the XSL statements. It's done by the replacer kit. So that is in very quick the differences between the Oracle BI publisher and the work we have to do in the fine-tuning phase according to what's going on in the Jasper reports part. All the other things Marty mentioned, what we do for the preparation phase, for the analyze phase, for the reporting dashboard with all these complexities given is totally the same, even if you go to Jasper or to BI Publisher. So I hope I could get a rough overview what is different for the BI Publisher and where the fine-tuning task is to do for the BI Publisher. It's mainly on layouting, and we hand over all the triggers, formatting triggers, which are necessary. With this, I'd like to hand over back to Sasha for a quick wrap-up and for the Q&A, which is full of questions, I see. So I
Very good.
Stop my sharing, and Sasha, it's up on you.
Okay, thank you very much, Stefan. Should see my slides back. Okay, hope you can see it.
Yeah, wonderful.
Okay, brilliant. So thank you very much, Marty, Stefan, for your presentations here, introducing the report Replacer Kit live, demonstrating such a great functionality. So I'm pretty sure that all attendees realize the potential benefits possible for their migration projects too. I know within an hour, demonstrating 2 different target technologies. It's difficult, and we're running a bit out of time. So anyway, I would like to move forward to the Q&A session, but allow me one final poll, because talking about a potential target that you might have in mind already after seeing now this presentation gives us a quick overview. So if you have already a reporting technology in mind, please tick the box again. So it's also, again, interesting for you when you see the result in a few seconds. If it's a BI publisher or Jasper reports, or some of you don't know already at the moment where to go, or if you have any other solution in mind or in a target solution, just tick it, and that's the final poll for today, and you get the feedback information in a few seconds. Should be back now. Okay. So yeah, there's a quite number of attendees who haven't taken a decision yet. Hopefully, we can support with our webinars with providing this valued information about the possibilities and to reach this target. Yes, we are working day in, day out on this information. provision, and hopefully this is very good for you. Okay, very good. Thanks for the moment. So I would propose to move forward to the Q&A session. There are a couple of questions that you've placed before during the registrations, but also during our session. We have a couple of live questions. So Marty, Stefan, I ask you to get off mute, because what I see, most of these questions are for you.
Yep, I'm ready.
Okay, cool. Let's move forward. So there is one question talking about how to manage the migration of reports with multiple curious groups to Jasper reports.
Okay, I can take that.
Cool.
You saw also in the demo today, the more complex report had 2 queries, Q1 and Q2, so multiple queries, no problem. The groupings also may be a problem depending. Some of the groupings are easy, others more problematic and may require some manual adjustments, but there are solutions at any moment for each situation.
Okay, thank you. So there's another one. Is the migration completely automated, or does it still need adjustments? And does it also work for more complex reports? Good question. Who takes over this?
Yeah, I can take over that. I believe you see the behavior of the migration in the webinar. There will be still some minor parts of adjustments. The behavior is not different to complex reports as well. So the parts which could be generated or not are spread over all reports, and the list of to-do may be a little bit longer, but every task, single task, is at least a simple task.
Thanks, Stefan. Another one, which solution is the easiest to migrate Oracle reports to and integrate with Oracle Forms at the best? Are there any plans for Eclipse BERT 2?
Yeah, once more, I think I have given some values or points to take into consideration while deciding for new technology. Either Jasper reports and BI Publisher are well integratable in Oracle Forms. There's an out-of-the-box integration with BI Publisher, and Jasper reports can be integrated via web services. Eclipse BERT is Java-based and could also be part of a migration, but we do not have yet planned for it. Either there's a very good situation with a project or customer to start with. But the preparation to go to Eclipse is the same as going to Jasper.
Okay. And then another one, so it's quite interesting. Which technologies have the most future potential? Philosophic question, nearly.
Yeah, wonderful. Even if you take a look at the past, BI Publisher and Jasper reports are on the market over more than 10 years right now, and they have a huge amount of major released in that 10 years. And that could only be a significant indicator for that both of them have a great future beforehand.
Okay. So in general, we appreciate your question. Very interesting what we see here. So another one is migration from Report 6i to BI Publisher easy?
We don't differ between Report 6i or any other reports version afterwards. The only thing we have to take care about is in 6i you're able to put button on reports. That is no longer possible in a web-based application, while we distinguish between data collection and layout. So for that, we have to take care about the overall process. Why is there a button on the report? But if that is solved, the reports are migrated in the same way we see today.
Okay. So regarding the buttons, so is it possible to implement the buttons in reports? Okay, that's also in this direction.
Yeah,
I think this is
not yet. You can work if you are running in BI Publisher, and the only thing is to call another report. You can solve that easily with an URL link. So you can create a web link inside the report to call any other web page or any other report. If that is the case, yes, that can be done.
Okay. Okay, so there are another ones. We use PL/SQL tables to show legend in the end of the report. No problem? Or is there any problem to migrate this type of functionality as well?
I can say about the PL/SQL tables. We have, it's very often in migration to Java projects to deal with PL/SQL tables, and there are various approaches. One very easy fix is, it worked very well. We used a select from table that solved the issue. In other cases, the customer would like a redefinition of that code just because it wants to simplify things. But the select from table may be the solution. I don't know, depending on the specific situation, you can find a solution always.
Okay, thank you. So how to convert the reports? I think this is something that you have demonstrated here with the reports replacer kit. That's, I think it's self-explaining on that, what you have seen. Definitely, just to put it up here at this stage, all attendees or registrations will receive some more detailed information in a follow-up email, where you can also see a demo of the replacer kit again, so that you can have again a look at after the session. So you will receive this information, I think, tomorrow planned. So another question: how to use BI Publisher report in Oracle Apex 5?
Yeah, that's a very easy answer. There is a report service available. You can simply register BI Publisher as a report engine for Apex, and everything is done under the topic or under the hood of Apex. So very simple, very easy, just configurable.
Okay, cool. Good. So there is how to use PDF retrieval and security checking with WebShow document when using BI Publisher.
Yeah, very good question. Very good question. So yes, WebShow document is the first choice to use to show the PDF documents created by the BI Publisher. But the question is very good in this situation that there is no security checks. So if you want to do that, the only way is to think about an own implementation, like a servlet implementation, or generating an own destination channel for your PDF documents, like a database table, and secure these database table for hacking issues.
Okay, cool. Good. So far, for the moment here, any questions that you have seen in the live environment, Stefan, that you would like to pick up? There is one regarding the, I just see regarding the license of the toolset reports replacer kit. Definitely, yes, it is available with a perpetual license, depending on some reports and some metrics here in the reports. So definitely, we can get in touch directly, and we can calculate for you your individual offer. Pricing is available and product is available, and yeah, you could start right away. Would be happy to get in touch with this. Anything from your side, Stefan, Madi, regarding the live Q&A?
There is a question on the image in the document header, I guess, in Jasper.
Okay.
Converting the image. The image file has been converted. It's just an image file maintaining the properties, the width, the height from the port, and it links inside the same path. In the expression property, you can see the path to the JPEG file. That's about the image. There is another question: does that get carry on from conversion? Yes. What I did not demo manually was fully conversion generated. The only things that did not get converted were the expressions that we wrote during the webinar.
Okay, good. So I think so far so fine. Thank you very much for your questions. We're very happy to discuss those. If anything that may come up afterwards, please don't hesitate to contact us in the next session, or of course directly. Sorry, let's go forward here. thank you. Let's start a conversation at any time. We would be happy to discuss with you further. As mentioned just before, in a follow-up, we will provide some more information to all attendees, to all registered contacts, where you'll find a demo of the Replacer kit, where you can find a recorded version, some more feedback on the polls earlier due to this session. Well, we are always very happy with such a huge number of registrations, with only few not attending, so which is incredible. And we know that this is a very, very important topic for a lot of you out there. And we are here to help. So don't hesitate to come back at any time at this stage. Thank you very much, Marty, Stefan, for your great presentations. Thank to all attendees joining this webinar. Thanks for your time. We're looking forward to meeting you. And well, have a great day or a nice evening wherever you are. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.